Okay, so today we're going to be doing 5.2 day 2. Okay, yes, there is a day 3. So 5.2 day 2 is going to be using point slope formula, and we're going to end up with our equations in slope intercept form. Okay, and so we're going to talk about that today pretty heartily. One thing we should talk about is slope intercept form is this, and that's going to be our final form for our answers today. But to get there, we're going to mostly use point slope formula to help us get there. Another thing we should talk about is if you have a slanted line, it's y equals mx plus b. Okay, so that means like it's going uphill at a slant or it's going downhill at a slant. However, if we have a vertical or horizontal line, we don't use y equals mx plus b. We don't even use point slope. Okay, so those are a whole different category of lines. And so if you have a directly vertical or directly horizontal line, then they're going to just be x equals a number or y equals a number. And so being able to hold on to that is going to be important. So the first thing is HOI. If you have a horizontal line, okay, what does a horizontal line look like? It looks like the horizon. Okay, think about the sunset. We see the sun. A horizontal line is going to be left and right. Okay, a horizontal line has a zero slope. Okay, it's not going uphill or downhill, so the slope is zero. And then it's y equals a number. Sorry, I don't know why this is erasing for me. A number. So if you see like y equals 3, it's going to be at 3 looking like this. Why does it do that? Well, it's because the ordered pair of points have to have the y value be 3 and x is anything you choose. So if you plot those points, you're going to get the values that go horizontally crossing the y-axis at 3. Okay, so the slope is 0. It's not going up. It's not going down. It's going horizontally. And so a vertical line has an undefined, kind of like the infinite slope, and it's x equals a number. And so, for example, it'd be like x equals 2 would look like this. And why would it do that? Because if you put some points that make it true, x is 2 and y is whatever you choose. And so if you plot those points, they're going to be a directly vertical line crossing the x-axis at 2. It has such a steep slope that you can't even count it. That's why they say it's undefined. All right, so today our steps are going to be as follows. If I give you the slope in one point, you're going to plug in the point and the point and the slope into the equation. There you go. And then you're going to convert it by distributing and isolating y to get it into slope intercept form. Okay, so we're going to use point slope, and then we're going to convert it into slope intercept form. Okay. If I give you 2 points, you're going to start by finding the slope. You're going to choose 1 point. You're going to put it into point slope. And then you can convert it into slope intercept form, which is y equals mx plus b. So the slope formula is m equals y2 minus y1, x2 minus x1. Choose one of the points, put it into point slope, which is y minus y1 equals m, and then x minus x1. And then your final answer is going to be in slope intercept form. So there's just one more step today. Yesterday we stopped at point slope. Today we're going to be moving it into y equals mx plus b. So make sure you read the directions. What form do they want your answer to be in? So this says write the answer in slope intercept form, which is y equals mx plus b. And some people might be like, well, why don't we just start with that? Well, the answer is we can't because we don't know the y-intercept. We know the slope, but not the y-intercept. So our starting point is to put it into point slope. And step 2, solve for y. How? Distribute and then add or subtract. So distribute and then add or subtract. So let's do this. If this is x1 and y1, we're going to do y minus 5 equals 2, x minus 1. And if it said leave it in point slope, we'd stop there. But it says put it into slope intercept form. So we're going to distribute and solve for y. So 2x minus 2 and we're going to add 5. To get y alone, this is going to be our answer. Okay, not too shabby. So we're going to start with our point x1 and y1 and our slope m. We're going to put it in slope or point slope form, so it's just y minus y1 equals m, and then x minus x1. So it'd be y subtract a negative 5 equals 5/3, x subtract a negative 3. So it'd be y plus 5 equals 5/3, and then x plus 3. We need to distribute. Okay, so distribute. We're going to do 5/3 times x, which is 5/3 x. And then if you do 5/3 times 3, you can use your calculator or you can use your brain. Always put your, we need to have a fraction times a number, but the number over 1 times the top times the bottom, and then either reduce or divide, you get 5. And then we're going to solve for y. What was it, 3? I don't know why I put a 5 there. And so be careful when you're distributing to mind your signs. That's something I've noticed that kids have struggled with, is that when you're distributing, be careful of your signs. Negative times negative is positive. So x1 and y1, do y subtract 3 equals -1, and then x subtract 2. So when we distribute this, we are going to get -1x, and negative times negative is a positive 2. That's what I notice a lot of kids are struggling with, that they forget that negative times negative is not negative, it's positive. Then solving for y, you get y is equal to -1x and then plus 5. Okay. Okay, we can do some more on the back. If slope is 0, okay. If your slope is weird, okay, be careful, okay. It's not going to be, it's not, you don't really use point slope for this one. So if the slope is 0 and it goes through a point, okay, you're going to have to say y plus 8 equals 0 and then x minus 6. And you're like, wait, what's going on here? Basically, if you look at the graph, it goes through 6, -8. Okay, and it's y is 0. So you would just do y is equal to -8. If you solve this, 0 times that is just 0. So y plus 8 equals 0. And y equals -8 is going to be our answer. So anytime you have slope of 0 or undefined, you need to kind of think about what it's going to be. Is it Hoy or Vux? Okay, this is Hoy. Why? It's a line that has a slope of 0, so it's just y equals, and you just write the y coordinate. If it's undefined, it's going to be Vux, okay? So Vux, and so that'd be x equals, so you look for the x value, so it'd be x equals 7. If you look at the points, it's going to be this. That is going to be x equals 7. So if you see a slope of 0 or undefined, really be careful to write x equals or y equals, depending if it's vertical or horizontal. You do need to know Hoy-Vux. We really don't use point slope if you've got a vertical or horizontal line. It does kind of work if your slope is 0. It doesn't work if it's undefined. And so it's a good idea to kind of remember, if your slope is weird, then you need to make sure you use Hoy or Vux. Okay, next question. If you've given 2 points, step 1, find the slope. Step 2, pick a point and do point slope. Step 3, we are going to get it into slope intercept. Okay, so here we go. Let's do -6 minus 4 over 3 minus -2. It's -10 over 5 or -2. So we're going to do y subtract, pick a point. I'm going to pick the first one. So this would be x minus the -2, so that becomes plus a +2. And it's y subtract 4, so that's why it stays negative. And I don't know why our examples tend to have 0 here. That's not super normal, just be frank. Normally you'll have a value there. So let's find the slope. Okay, negative over negative is positive, so remember that. And then we pick a point. I'm going to pick the first one. So y subtract 5 equals 1/2. x subtract 6, distribute 1/2 x minus 3, and solve for y. And that'll be our equation. And if you want to see how did I take a half times -6, I put it over 1, I times the top, I times the bottom, and I divided that, and that gave me -3. All right, let's try this. 6 minus 4 over -9 minus -9. That makes 2 over 0. That's undefined. Wait a minute. If it's undefined, then you've got to think like a fifth grader. Look at these points. What do you notice is the case? Okay. Notice the x coordinates are the same. So you just write x equals -9. It's also Vux. Vertical lines have an undefined slope and they're x equals. So notice the x coordinates are the exact same. On this one, you do 3 minus 3 over 8 minus 0. You get 0 over 8, which is 0. Oh, wait a minute. If the slope is 0, you have to look at the points. Do you notice both of the y coordinates are 3? So that would be y equals 3. If the slope is 0, it's hoy. Horizontal lines have a slope of 0 and their y equals. So notice the y coordinates are the same. Okay, one word problem. 7 guitar lessons cost 82 and 11 cost this. Write an equation for the line. So 7 cost 82 and 11 cost 122. Let's do the slope. 122 minus 82 over 11 minus 7. Okay, subtracting those, you get 40 over 4 equals 10. That's my slope. And pick a point. I'm going to do the first one for x1 and y1. And then distribute and solve. You get 10x minus 70. There we go. That's our equation. If x is the number of guitars you buy, and y is the cost. All right. Thank you so much. I hope you have a fantastic day.